All right, folks, we're going to get started here. Thanks so much for coming out. It is February 28th. It's our second meeting of the month. Again, thanks for coming. If everybody could please rise and salute the flag with us. Thank you very much. Roll call, please, Angela.
Saba El-Zayed.
Here.
Amy High.
Here.
James Fee. Megan Nolan.
Here.
Diane Gundrum. Tony Heil.
Here.
Kyle Shank.
Here.
Mr. President, I'll note for the record that we were in executive session from approximately 7 o'clock to approximately 7:30 with regard to personnel and potential litigation.
Thank you, Mr. Bello. And Angela, for the record, we did hear from both Ms. Gundrum and Mr. Fee, and they are actually both down sick this evening. So just want to make sure that's noted that they did give us a heads up on that. And with that, Mr. Truman.
All right, good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out this evening. First up on the agenda for council consideration, a motion to hire Justin Broski to the position of full-time officer with an effective date or effective hire date of June 1st, 2023. With that, I will turn it over to Chief Beretta and Mayor Jack Sear if they have any comments.
Good evening. So we welcome all of the friends and family here tonight. Mr. John Broski and Mrs. Denise Broski are here for their son swearing in, as well as Christina, the girlfriend. So thank you for coming for this special moment. Justin, 27 years of age, Warrenton, PA, was sworn as a part-time officer not that long ago, September 13th of 2022. He's a certified EMT and has worked in the hospital settings as a medical professional. Justin's a 2013 graduate of Central Bucks High School, a 2018 graduate of Penn State University with a BS in Criminology, and a 2021 graduate of Temple University's Municipal Police Academy. Justin enjoys serving as a Warrenton Fire Company firefighter, the beach, and physical fitness. So if we could ask Justin to come up to the podium with Mayor Jack Sear.
I think just so we have things done in the proper order before we do the swearing in, and we will get there, we're going to hold a vote on actually hiring, and then we do the swearing in. So, and Mr. Truman, I think when we discussed this, the effective date was June 1st, so whoever's going to make that motion, which I would solicit if anybody would like to make sure we state that it's going to be for June 1st.
I'll make the motion for June 1st.
I will second.
We have the motion from Ms. Alzad, second by Ms. Nolan, to hire Officer Justin Browski to full-time patrol officer effective June 1st of this year. Questions or comments from council?
I'm just very excited that there's a second Penn Stater a part of our crew. So congratulations.
And I just want to say, it's already obvious, Justin, how you've integrated yourself into the community. And a lot of people, students, young people, people who've been here a while have already met you, and that's really a great testament. I also think that the fact that we're recruiting good people to work on our force is a testament to the whole force. And I hope you all know that we are grateful to that, because if they know this is a good place to live and work, then that means we'll get good people to work on our force. So I'm very excited to add you as a full-time officer.
Thank you, Mr. Howell. Or comments from the public before the vote? All right. Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that's unanimous. Congratulations, sir. And now we can move forward.
All right, if you could please repeat after me. I, Justin Brosky,
I, Justin Broski,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties
and that I will discharge the duties
of my office
of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And folks, if you don't have a copy of the agenda, we do have a couple other, I'm sure everybody in the back realizes, police matters coming up, so stick around. A couple of good items here that we're going to go through.
That was the oath ceremony. Next up, a presentation, a Race for Peace Award presented to Officer Shannon Sell. And again, Chief Beretta, if you have a few words on this.
Good evening and welcome to the family, Shannon's family. So Shannon's husband, Mike Sell, who's a current police officer, her son Cody, and Shannon's father, Mr. Walt McGinnis, are all here for this. So thank you for coming. So the Race for Peace, we've had a relationship here for the 4.5 years I've been here. And in a moment, we're going to ask Andrew Howe to come up and say a few words and bring his team up to actually give the certificate to Officer Sell. So if you could come up to the podium. Officer Sell has been a police officer here, juvenile officer, part-time officer, and full-time officer since 2010. In her duties as a juvenile officer, integrating with the community is of primary importance, and that's where the Race for Peace comes in. Mr. Howe?
Yeah, I think so.
There you go. It's on.
Oh, okay, there we go. Hello, everybody. How you doing? My name is Hameen Diggins. I am the community liaison for the Race for Peace Committee, which our goal is to bridge the gap between police and community. Now, I know everybody, everybody's a star in their own way, but sometimes there's always somebody that shines a little bit brighter. And that's one thing that we recognize when it comes to Officer Shannon. Whether it's helping to deliver a baby, whether it's to turn around and help with the, be the leader in the community event, everything that she's brought to the table is exactly what we stand for, who we are, and what we do. So on behalf of the Race for Peace,
Certificate of Appreciation present to Officer Shannon Sell, Borough of Bridgeport. Race for Peace Committee presented this certificate in recognition of your active participation and support in the mission of peace and humanity.
And I'd just like to add what I see as a mother, a motivator, a mentor, and an officer who has a firm grip on law enforcement in the borough of Bridgeport, Pennsylvania. Shannon, can you come and receive the award? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm honored to receive this award. Obviously, couldn't do it.
Congrats, Officer Sell. Hey, just a brief comment. Anywhere you go around town, if you talk to a mom or a child, they know Officer Sell. And it's always with the best of the best vision. And I'm trying to come up with, I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time with the word, but Officer Sell, everybody here in town appreciates what you do for them. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you, gentlemen, and thank you and congrats, Officer Sell. Next up on the agenda, excuse me, a presentation of the Perfect Attendance Award for calendar year 2022, being presented to Officer Mark Stillwagon. Chief Beretta.
Okay. Officer Stillwagon, you want to come on up? So I know we got a lot of things going on tonight, a lot of people to recognize. So for year 2022, Officer Mark Stillwagon in perfect attendance, and it sounds like, oh, what is that? It means he's completely reliable. And in a time where you have, problems with consistency, people that may not show up, this guy did every time. And it's something to be, I'm thankful to have you and your consistency and your strong leadership, both in field training and as a part-time officer and a full-time officer. So time.
All right, and we saved the best for last. And next up, certainly no discredit to anybody who was involved in the last three action items, please. But this next presentation is in recognition of the career of Officer John Pisa, who very recently retired from the force after 32 years, 33 years. 33 years, since 1990, dedicated service to the borough. And with that, I will turn it over to Chief Beretta again.
Thanks, everyone, for coming out. This is a big deal. I know we tried to do this in a more formal fashion with the final ride. Unfortunately, because of the death of Officer Fitzgerald, that last Friday, there was a conflict with his funeral. And and decision was made not to hold it. So I'm sorry that you missed out on some of the things that might make additional memories, but we're so glad to have you here, along with John's wife, Melissa, Danielle, son Nick, son TJ, brother-in-law Bruce, and sister Geraldine. So thank you for all coming out here, and besides all the other officers here, to show their respect for you because you've earned it over such a long time. John started Bridgeport Police Department as a part-time officer in February of 1986. And I think that those years are just as valuable as the ones that you did full-time, where you were sworn in December of 1989. John was the 1992 Bridgeport Police Officer of the Year. John received a life-saving award and was a recipient from 2019. And he was also the recipient of a Commendation of Merit for a homicide investigation that occurred just off of the DeKalb Street corridor. John was a former juvenile officer and field training officer, and another one of those people that you rely on completely. John hails from Bridgeport, and I had said that you were going to receive your final ride, but this is probably it. And we appreciate everything you've done. So if you can come up to the podium, we'll make that presentation, John.
Congratulations.
Hey, John, one thing I can say, not that I want to just add anecdotes to everything, but you've been on my block a couple times on Rambo Street. I want to say when my neighbors would text me and, they wanted to get the police's attention about something that was going on, they said, call Officer Pisa. They didn't say call the police. So that's the effect that the guy had on the community. When folks needed help, they would call for him by name. And I think that really, really says a lot. So thank you.
Ladies and gents, we certainly appreciate you all coming out. But certainly wouldn't take any offense if you headed out. All the police-related stuff is wrapped up now. So. All righty. Moving on. Next on the agenda, For council consideration, Resolution 2023-8, authorizing creation of a bank account for the deposit of FEMA grant funding. Members of council, members of the audience, ever since we were besieged by the flooding caused by the remnants of Hurricane Ida, the borough has been in constant contact with FEMA for a couple of different funding programs. This one, or the program that was the impetus behind creating this bank account, is the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, a program that will see the borough coordinate through FEMA to buy out a handful of certain properties in the Front Street, Second Street area. And in order to receive these funds, we must create a separate interest-bearing bank account to store them. We cannot commingle the funds. So that is the reason behind this resolution this evening.
I'll make the motion.
A second.
We have a motion from Ms. Azad, seconded by Ms. Nolan, authorizing the creation of the bank account. Question or comments from council?
Do we know how much we're getting?
We do.
And when, I guess?
We are receiving somewhere in the vicinity of $5 million.
That's great.
Thank you to Keith, your administration, and Sal. I know you've been very helpful with some of this too, right? I don't want to give you credit if you don't deserve it.
I didn't do anything.
Okay, never mind.
But I'll certainly take the action.
But thanks to the administrative staff here. I know, thanks to the mayors, reach out to the appropriate people as well. And Congresswoman Scanlon, I know, reached out to help us with it too. So it's a team effort, and I appreciate everyone that was involved in that.
Good stuff. Thank you, Councilman. Additional comments or from the public? All right, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that's unanimous. Thanks.
All right, very good. Next up on the agenda for council consideration, Resolution 2023-9, authorizing a settlement agreement relating to the addresses or the properties located at 500 and 508 DeKalb Street.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that motion.
Motions from Mr. Heil, seconded by Councilwoman High, authorizing the settlement agreement on DeKalb Street. Questions or comments from the council or from the public? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is unanimous. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next up for council consideration, acceptance of the resignation from the Civil Service Commission of one Mr. Pete DeSanto. Members of council, I don't know if in your travels any of you have had the pleasure of meeting Mr. DeSanto. However, Mr. DeSanto, Pete, has been a mainstay on the Civil Service Commission for, 2 decades.
I think it's over 50 years.
On the CSC? Well, we that's multiple decades. Pete has been the anchor for the Civil Service Commission, has taught and mentored new members of the commission. Civil Service Commission's primary function is to officiate over the testing and evaluation process for both new full-time police hires as well as promotions throughout the ranks, such as, sergeant, corporal, so on and so forth. Pete expressed the interest to myself and Chief Beretta the last couple of years that he wanted to take a step back. He was gracious enough to wait until we had some folks waiting in the wings to fill his shoes. And we are now at the time where Pete is stepping down, and we are incredibly appreciative of the service that he has provided to this community over these nigh on 50 years, apparently. So.
I'll make the motion to accept the resignation and thank Mr. DeSanto for the many years of service.
I will second.
Motions from Mr. Heil, seconded by Ms. Nolan, to accept the resignation from the Civil Service Commission of Mr. Pete DeSanto. Additional questions or comments from council or the public? All right, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That is unanimous then. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, thank you, Pete. Next, for council consideration, authorization to purchase new firearms for the police department from Whitmer Public Safety Group. The total amount would be $13,546. Members of council, this is a purchase that was budgeted for or accounted for in the 23 capital budget. Our firearms, and I'm sure Chief can expound upon this better than I, our firearms are coming up on their, shelf life or expiration, as it were, and it makes sense to do a wholesale purchase of new firearms for the entirety of the force.
Yeah, thank you. They do have a shelf life, and we're moving up with the times. So the platform the Glock makes is a premium one. We're using holographic red dot sights, which is premium. That's best practice now, along with a white light and new holster. Initially, I was going to try to have it, and that probably didn't work out well. So I appreciate your consideration, taking us into the 21st century, at least as far as these other critical tools are that we're tasked with.
What are we going to do with those flintlock pistols?
There's a Revolutionary War cemetery that's around the corner, and we'll be reinterring them along there.
Maybe the mayor can show them at Founders Day.
With that in mind, I'll make the motion to authorize purchase.
A second.
The motion is from Mr. Heil, seconded by Ms. Nolan to authorize the purchase of the firearms for the police department. Questions or comments from council or the public? All right, then all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that is unanimous. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next up for council consideration is the authorization of payment estimate number 4 to Plymar Construction in the amount of $13,008.25. Members of council, this is in conjunction with the Memorial Park Sidewalk and Trail Project. This represents essentially the final payment to Plymar. There is still $750 being retained for some seeding work that needs to take place this spring. Other than that, this is the entirety of the contractually obligated amount.
Great. I'll make the motion.
Motion's from Ms. High, seconded by Ms. Alzad to authorize the payment to Plymar. Questions or comments from council or the public? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, that's unanimous. Thank you.
And for council consideration, approval of bills and salaries for the month of February 2023.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
A second.
Motion's from Mr. Heil, seconded by Ms. Alzad to pay the bills and salaries. Questions or comments from council or the public? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, that is unanimous. Pay the people.
Very good. Moving on to unfinished business. Are there any items of unfinished business that need to be discussed this evening? Very well. Seeing none, we can proceed to committee reports. Are there any committee reports to share this evening?
Just a quick reminder about the events committee meeting on this coming Monday. That's March the 6th. We'll be meeting right here at Borough Hall at 6:30. So I encourage anyone who wants to get involved in community events to come out. We'll be talking about lots of good events coming up this year. Also, not directly from the events committee, but Bridgeport Little League will be doing a couple things here. They're doing an in-person registration at Bridgeport Founders Day, which I'll let Mayor Beth talk a little bit more about, coming up on March 4th. And they're also doing a cleanup day and a general volunteer meeting on March 25th from 9 a.m. to noon. So I encourage anyone who's interested to come on out.
All right, thank you, Councilwoman High. Are there any other committee reports to share?
No reports, but I'll just say that there's a sustainability committee next Thursday here at Borough Hall, March 9th at 7 p.m. And we do still have a vacancy on the sustainability committee, so if anybody is interested, please apply.
Thank you, Councilwoman Nolan. Moving on to the mayor's report. Mayor Jaxier.
Thank you. And thank you to Councilwoman High for the Founders Day introduction. It's no surprise that I wanted to talk a little bit about it today since it is happening this Saturday. It is occurring from 2 to 7 p.m., both in this room and outside in the parking lot. So please join us for this first ever event, which honors Bridgeport's history and celebrates our community today. If you haven't picked up your scavenger hunt card yet, you still have until Saturday to finish it. You can pick up a card here at Borough Hall at the participating businesses, which are Village Velo Bikes, Frosty Falls, DeKalb Chiropractic, Bridgeport Veterinary Hospital, and Reach Climbing and Fitness during their business hours. And I do believe they're all open each day from now until the event. Once you visit each of those 5 businesses, you can bring your card to Founders Day and get entered to win 4 great prizes, including gift cards and swag bags from those businesses. I've collected all the prizes, and I can say they're pretty great. We're also going to be holding a 50-50 raffle to support the Bridgeport Upper Merion Little League. We'll be holding these prize drawings at the top of each hour for the raffles for the scavenger hunt. We're going to be selling T-shirts from children's small through adult 3XL for $10 day of. We'll be holding events at 1/2 each hour, including 2 Resident Lifetime Achievement Awards, a demonstration from Distolfo's Premier Martial Arts, and more. There will be a beer garden, a vendor fair, and other exciting activities for the whole family. So make sure to join us, and to learn more, visit our website at bridgeportfoundersday.org. And if there's any questions, please feel free to reach out to me or anyone on the committee. That's all I got for today. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mayor.
Mayor, I'd just like to say I just checked my weather app, and it is going to be 55 and mostly cloudy on Saturday. So that is perfect smart weather for Founders Day.
It is. Please don't jinx it.
I can't jinx anything. I've still never been called for jury duty.
All right, moving on to the Chief's report. Chief Beretta.
Good evening, everyone. Over the last 30 days, we've, including through tonight, we'll have scheduled about 40 hours of selective DUI enforcement between the holidays of, or the word you don't want to say, Super Bowl time period through now, on nights and evenings, Thursday through Sunday. So we've been doing some selective DUI enforcement. So that's been going on. As far as our crime report, over the last couple of days, there's a group they call them the Felony Lane Gang. It's kind of like a stereotype, but they were out of Florida. They would target childcare parking lots, parks, places like along the river, places where people might feel comfortable leaving some belongings for a couple hours in their car. Their MO is they would use force if they see purses, break in, steal IDs, checks, and then the felony lane is technically the outside banking lane. So if someone were to go to the outside lane, if it was a blonde-haired woman on the driver's license, then they would grab a blonde wig, and then they would make the presentation along with a stolen credit card and a check and try to subvert the person's bank account. So they're in the area recently. It's on the news today, so you'll see more about it. So I can't say please do not leave items of apparent value in your vehicle. With this local trend, normally people won't break in if they don't see something like that. This group will, and they are hitting all of the parks going to be in Montgomery, Delaware and Chester County over the next couple weeks. I would expect more activity. So please secure your valuables. I have to report that there was an assault along the Norristown high-speed line. It started a disagreement between a male and a female on the train from Norristown, getting off at the trolley stop in Bridgeport. Two people were asked to step off of the trolley, and this would be on Saturday, the 25th of February at approximately 2 p.m. This disagreement that started on the train ended up an assault on from the man to the woman, and it pushed her over by the stairs leading from the trolley station. We put out seeking information. Anyone that has Ring doorbells that would be in the area of 6th and Marion or in the DeKalb Street corridor. I asked for a time period of between 1:30 and 3 o'clock. This wasn't reported until a couple hours actually after it occurred. So I wanted to have enough time. So if you do, talk amongst your friends and neighbors. And if there's any kind of video, we're looking for a black male that was wearing a black jacket, black pants, and had like a mask on. So if there's any assistance, please contact Bridgeport Police Department if you have any video or if you noticed anything from Saturday. Lastly, I participated in a community engagement and dialogue regarding the death of Tyree Nichols with additional Montgomery County chiefs and the trust organization. That was on the 9th, and we were just talking about better ways about how events do occur, how do you respond to them, how can we stop and impede the loss of life. And it was very rewarding. There was a bunch of pastors mostly from the Norristown area and 2 other chiefs, a total of about 10 or 12 people that had a discussion. We don't have all the answers, but we have a lot of questions and we talk about it. So sharing, creating a dialogue is always one of the most important things so that we could stop tomorrow's problem earlier by just the kind of stuff that we saw earlier today with Race for Peace and integration and training. So that was very rewarding. That's all I have for you tonight.
All right, thank you, Chief Beretta. Moving on to new business. Are there any items of new business to be discussed this evening? Very good. Proceeding to open forum and announcements. Any announcements to make? Seeing none, we can open the floor to public comment. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak this evening? All right, very well. Seeing none, council could certainly motion.
Mr. Truman, before you entertain that, I'm sorry, I forgot we had a lot of stuff going on here. I just wanted to remark, a lot of times the negative things are what happen first, and the positive things are what get forgotten. So on February 28th this morning, two Bridgeport police officers, Matthew Stead and Evan Fleur, were able to save the life of a 19-year-old female Bridgeport resident who had overdosed on heroin. The following is a synopsis of the events that occurred. Officer Stead, while on patrol, happened to observe the body of a then unidentified female laying in the parking lot of 3 DeKalb Street. Upon further approach, Officer Stead attempted to speak with the subject, but quickly saw she was unresponsive and cold to the touch. He quickly alerted dispatch of his location, situation, and immediately administered CPR. His partner, Officer Evan Fleur, then arrived shortly and assisted with the CPR and administered the Noxalone, or commonly known as Narcan. Within a few minutes, a VMS arrived on the scene. A few hours later, a follow-up in the emergency room advised that the subject was alive and once in stable condition would be transported to a medical facility that would further her recovery. The actions taken in the early morning hours by these 2 officers were not only swift but life-saving. So we thank both of them for their dedication to the Bridgeport Police Department as well as to the Borough of Bridgeport. The department is proud of their actions, and it's just proactive police work. You got to do just being aware and alert. So we're thankful that if not for their actions, I believe we would have had a deceased individual. So thank you to Officers Stead and Fleur.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, Chief, and certainly thanks to those officers for their work.
With that, council could entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
All right, it is 8:11. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.